Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey there, I'm fantastic. How are you?
Really good. It's a Monday. I cannot believe time flies so darn fast. We're like on the downhill slide for August. Coming up later in the program, we're going to be talking with Wendy Wright, and we're going to be talking about head lice as kids are heading back to school. This is a time of year when kids come home with that kind of stuff. And it's not just, it's not lice.
What were you going to say?
I would say it's not just, kids from the wrong side of the tracks or whatever. This happens to everybody, no matter what your race, no matter what your income. Lice don't care. So we're going to be chatting with her about some things you can do to get rid of head lice. So that's not a fun topic to talk about, is it?
No, not at all.
It's on the way. Hey, an Australian artist who thought his talent was being unfairly ignored was jailed for 3 months after he launched a bomb scare just to get attention.
Oh, boy.
He got attention, but he also got to go to
the
jail.
Wrong kind of attention.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. That's a bad idea.
That's a very bad idea.
Yeah. Coming up, we got some special stuff going on today. We'll tell you all about that in a bit on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Monday, August the 22nd. Today is Be an Angel Day. Do you see my wings back here?
Yeah.
Oh. No, maybe not. I'm going to be an angel today, though. I'm going to try to be as good as I possibly can. I'm not going to pick on you or nothing.
Oh,
Hey,
let's
hey.
see. We'll
Listen
give that
up, lady.
4 seconds.
Hey, Southern Hemisphere Hootie Hoo Day today. What the heck is that?
I don't know.
Southern Hemisphere Hootie Hoo Day.
All right.
It's
Something to
also
celebrate.
Take Your Cat to the Vet Day today.
Okay.
I think that happens more than once a year for some people. But today is the day to take your cat to the vet. If you don't have a cat, maybe you should go get a stuffed cat and take that to the vet and see what happens. My cat's been awfully quiet lately. This is a stuffed Garfield.
You're so lame.
I know. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Email marketing is affordable and a proven way to grow your business. If it's done right, you can stay in contact with your customers to let them know when you have new things to offer. You stay in control the whole time, too. You decide when the messages are sent, and you decide what is being said. So you're constantly in control of your business image. You can do this, but don't try it on your own. Team up with one of the biggest names in email marketing, Constant Contact. Sign up for a free trial right now at radiosavings.com. Sign up now at radiosavings.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. What's in a name? Well, maybe a lot of misery if your name happens to be Taula. Taula does the hula from Hawaii. That's the name.
Oh, that's her name?
Yeah.
Oh.
A New Zealand judge ordered that a 9-year-old girl be allowed to change her name. Named Taula does the hula from Hawaii. They said, no, she needs to get a new name, and it needs to be less insane. The judge made the girl a ward of the court so that her name could be legally changed. The new name was not made public to protect this poor girl's privacy.
Yeah.
Other crazy names that have been submitted to the New Zealand name registration officials include, these are real names that people named their kids.
I don't know how that girl was allowed to keep it for 9 years. How'd they even get it passed to begin with?
Well, they didn't have any rules in place. So this poor girl was born 9 years ago in New Zealand, and her parents named her Taula Does the Hula from Hawaii. That was her name.
Awful.
Here are some of the other names in New Zealand. This sounds like a joke, but these are for real. Somebody named their kid Fish and Chips. That was their kid's name.
What's wrong with people?
Fish and Chips. Somebody else named their child Violence. Somebody else named their child Yeah Detroit. And believe it or not, in New Zealand, there was a young man or woman, it doesn't say, that literally had the name Sex Fruit. That was their name.
Oh.
So they were born, and mom and dad decided, you know what would be a good name for this baby? Sex Fruit.
Oh.
Why would you do that?
Well, yeah. Give your kid a fighting chance. The world is hard enough.
Don't understand why in the world anybody would want to do that to their child, And I understand. It's, it's up to you. Mom and dad, you get to name the kid whatever you want to name them. But
when it comes to being just outright abuse, which I think
Taula
is what
does
that
the hula
is,
from Hawaii.
Yeah, that's just horrible.
Why would you even want to name your kid that?
Yeah.
That doesn't, just name him Taula if that's what you want to name the little girl. But not all that other stuff. kids are going to make fun of them the way it is, so just make it as easy on the poor child as you can. All I know is this stuff's going on in New Zealand, and you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. Can you crash twice in the span of just a few seconds? Well, you can if your brain is on drugs. A couple of intoxicated pals crashed their pickup truck into a parked car. This happened in Peekskill, New York. Then they drove down the street and they crashed again. Police said one of the men couldn't pull the truck free from the parked car that he had hit, so his friend hopped behind the wheel and managed to get it loose, only to drive into another parked car about a block later. So both men have been charged with DUI. Both men have been charged with leaving the scene of an accident. So talk about friends.
There you go.
These guys are friends to the end. Oh, we got stuck. Oh, I can get it out of there. That's a bad plan. I remember when I was a kid, a friend, his father had a bit of a drinking problem, and he was drinking and driving. Luckily, didn't kill anybody, but he hit like 15 cars between the bar and his house. They just followed the crashes, all of the crashes, and they pulled him over before he even got home. But there was like 15 cars that were damaged when he left. So drinking and driving is always a bad idea.
Always.
Always. So get a designated driver. Stick around. We've got your moment of duh on the way.
John and Heidi.
Got your moment of duh right here. 18-year-old Amber Ann Miller of Corona, California did not want to pay to get into the Orange County Fair, so she decided, hey, I'm going to just tell them my little sister's lost in there. So she filled out a missing persons report. Then they said, yeah, you can go ahead and look for her. So she did. She never came back, and that's when several of the people there, the deputies, decided, well, we're going to go look for this girl too. This is really concerning us. Closing time came at midnight. Still no sign of Amber. Still no sign of her sister. So they got suspicious when they called Amber's parents, and they said,
The sister was at home.
no, she doesn't even have a sister. Amber has been charged with 2 misdemeanors, resisting obstruction or delaying deputies and public officers, and falsifying reports of an emergency. So way to go, Amber. Yeah, your 12-year-old sister that doesn't exist? Well, she got you in trouble after all.
Oh, my gosh.
She's 18, by the way. This is an 18-year-old girl that came up with it. She hatched this scheme to get into the fair for free by telling them her little sister that doesn't exist is missing. So,
Wow.
A for effort, maybe?
There you go, I
don't think
suppose.
so. We've got your scoop of the day on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Teenagers who have a television in their bedroom tend to eat a poor diet, have bad exercise habits, and have lower grades in school than friends who don't have a TV in their room. This, according to a new study from the University of Minnesota Schools of Public Health. I think there's one more reason that we should not have a TV in our daughter's room. And because I want to put it in my office. So that's another reason. Hey, this is kind of gross. Look around your office or workplace right now. Or if you're sitting in traffic, look out the windows at the people that are, parked on either side of you. If you look around and if you can see 8 men, according to research, one of those 8 wears their underwear 2 or 3 times before washing them.
Oh, gross.
Routinely.
Oh, that's disgusting.
The survey conducted by Clorox also found that guys between the ages of 18 and 29 wash their bed sheets about once a month, compared to women of the same age who do that about once a week. So I noticed you got quiet over there. She's like, once a month? What? What are you talking about? Once a month? It's like once a quarter, maybe. Oh, dog peed on the bed. Well, I guess I got to do the laundry finally. Has been a year and a half. It's not quite that bad, but
I just don't see the point in washing them all the time. I'm the one that sleeps in there.
And me, we're married, so we're sleeping next to each other. So anyway, just for the record, I want to make sure that I am not one of 8 that wears my underwear multiple days in a row. I couldn't do that. No way. Hey, moving on to something else, Walt Disney Studios is developing a reboot of the 1991 action-adventure movie The Rocketeer. The project is early in the development stages, considering it a sequel/reboot with a modern-day twist, will be headlined by a black female character. So in the one back then, it was a white male character. Now it's going to be a black female character. So they're looking at how great things went for Ghostbusters.
Let's try to emulate that.
See how much money we can lose.
Good Lord.
So I hope they do well. I really do. So The Rocketeer may be rocketing into the studios, movie theaters pretty darn soon. Hot off their cheesy collaboration with Burger King, Cheetos came up with a new plan for Taco Bell. It's called the Cheetos Burritos. And I guess they have them in Cincinnati, and they're going to be coming out all over the country here very, very soon. It's supposed to be for about $1, so it'll be interesting to see. I'll have to try something like that. I didn't think I liked Cheetos. I had never eaten them, but I didn't like
You've
the
never
cheese.
eaten Cheetos?
I have now, but I had never eaten them. And our son was always eating Cheetos.
Yeah, I like Cheetos.
And I was sitting there one day when he was chomping on those things. I was like, those are disgusting. And he said, you don't like Cheetos? I'm like, well, I've never had them. He goes, try one.
Why would you think you didn't like Cheetos?
Because when I was younger, I got sick eating the cheese puffs, and they look just like those, or they smell like those, and they have the cheese.
No, they're very different.
They are different, and I do like them, and I like the cheese puffs too. I'm like, I clearly have gotten over all of that. Then I go buy one of those giant barrels of cheese puffs. I'm like, hey, there's my lunch right there. Hey, a new recent study from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics has found the average American spends 19 minutes a day reading. Those 34 and under are reading even less than 10 minutes a day. So there's a lot of youngsters out there that don't do a whole lot of reading. So that's not good.
I would think that your online activity would count as reading.
I think that's what they're counting.
No, there's
19
no
minutes
way.
a day.
You can't tell me those kids.
Here's the thing. Are they reading or are they watching videos? Are they listening to stuff? If they're online, how many times do you catch our daughter reading stuff? She's got her
All the
headphones
time.
in. But she's got her headphones in watching videos.
But she's all
It's not like she's like, Mother,
comments and commenting on things. They read.
I don't know. Recently read this interesting article, Mother. No, it's usually like, hey, watch this video. This guy
Actually, I'm pretty proud of her here lately. She's been tagging me in political posts.
Oh, no.
So
let's not go there. And with that, this has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
Whether you're following the election or not, you understand that it impacts you. And this will be a historic election. The mainstream media has their own spin on who's going to win, but PoliticalStorm.com lets you chime in. You can keep yelling at the TV if you want. See how that works out. Or truly voice your opinion and have it heard at PoliticalStorm.com. Be informed from several different sources all in one place. Watch videos, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials to engage your brain. You have a choice, and now you have a voice, too, at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We got a special guest joining us right now because school is already started for a few people and will be starting for a whole lot of other people here in the very, very near future. And for those of you who have already gone back to school, you might have already had an issue with this, but those of you who are going back to school, it's something that we deal with every single year, and it's two words we don't like to hear, but they are head lice. Ugh, yucky. Well, we've got Nurse Practitioner joining us right now, Wendy Wright. How are you, Wendy?
I'm great. How are you?
Very good. We're excited to talk to you. Now, this is a big thing that happens all over the country, and it's kind of a big time of the year because all the kids are going back to school, isn't it?
That is absolutely the truth. We're coming off camp season when kids have been away at a sleepaway camp, and they're all heading back to school. This is a very common time of the year for this dreaded phone call from that school nurse where she says, your child has head lice.
Now, when you get that call, first of all, you probably shouldn't feel bad because the first thing you do is you're going, oh, my goodness, how did this happen to my child? But this can happen to anybody, can't it?
It can absolutely happen to every parent is likely going to have a child at some point with head lice. Do you know that there's 6 to 12 million infestations of head lice every single year in the United States? Now, the majority of the kids that get head lice are going to be school age, and I'm sure that all of your listeners can understand why. They're putting their heads up against other kids, they're having sleepovers, they're in the same bed, and this is how head lice are actually transmitted. It's through that close contact. I know when I was little, my mom used to say, don't share anyone's baseball cap, don't use their brushes, And while that is a source for transmission, it is not nearly as common as putting your head on the pillow with a child who's infested with head lice.
And just talking about it is making me itch right now, Wendy. Is that normal, just talking about head lice? Does that make people itch?
If I have not made you itch, I have not done my job today.
I'm itching and scratching all over the place. Now, let's talk about the myths and the facts about head lice and the impact that it can actually have on somebody's family. What are some of the myths that we hear?
There are so many myths, John, that I could be on your show for the next hour, but let me just grab a couple of the really big myths. And the first one is that people think that head lice occur in dirty children. That's not true. Head lice actually prefer healthy kids and healthy heads and clean heads. So it's actually not a condition that we see in people that are dirty. The other myth is that certain socioeconomic groups are more likely to have head lice. It is actually an equal opportunity parasite. We see this in very wealthy families. We see this in children that suffer or are affected financially. So we see this across all socioeconomic groups. And I think those are really two big myths that we today need to dispel with all of our listeners.
So this is something that, once again, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, it's possible for all of us to come down with a case of head lice.
It's not a matter of if. It's really just a matter of when if you have school-age children.
So what are some of the best treatment options? If you do find out that, hey, your child has head lice, what do you do from there?
So when you get that call that your child has head lice, the first thing is, A, not to panic, but 2, to call your healthcare provider. I think this is really important because the studies are now showing that the average parent treats their child 5 times before they ever consult their healthcare provider. They use the over-the-counter products, which we know are not as efficacious as they were 20 to 30 years ago when I was a child. So what we know is they should call their healthcare provider because we have new agents that are available. And today I partnered up with Arbor Pharmaceuticals to talk with you about a little bit about Sklice, which is a treatment option that we've had available for many years now, but it's a 10-minute application to the scalp. It's FDA approved. And we know that when parents apply this, after 10 minutes, they don't have to spend the next 2 weeks combing out nits out of their child's hair. And as a working parent who has had to come home and treat head lice at 7 o'clock at night, that is really important.
And what is the product called once again?
So the product is called Sklice, and if people want more information about this product, they can go to Sklice, SKLICE.com for full prescribing information.
How do we spell that one more time?
SKLICE.com, and they can consult that website. They can go to their healthcare provider.
SKLICE?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, that's very good to know. Now, I've heard in the news something about super lice. Now, what the heck is super lice? And is that the same as lice, or is that something different?
Boy, that's a scary term when you hear it, isn't it? I know that the phones in my primary care office ring every time one of those articles are published online. But it's not as scary as it sounds. Now, we as healthcare providers have known that these head lice have begun to mutate, and they started about 30 years ago. So the treatments that were available and are still available today when I was younger are not as efficacious as they used to be because these head lice have actually mutated. Now, don't fear, and I think that's an important takeaway message because our treatment options that are available through prescription are efficacious, and we know that they are still attacking these head lice that have become resistant.
Again, if somebody comes up with an issue where they have this super lice, would Sklice work for that too?
So we know that there isn't one product out there that works on 100% of kids, but we know that the prescription products that are available, in particular today I'm speaking on Sklice, we know that it is much more efficacious than the over-the-counter products. And again, it is FDA approved to use in all children 6 months of age and older with head lice.
Well, if you get that dreaded call, some good information to know. Wendy, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us. I really do appreciate you taking the time. And this is a time of year when there are going to be people getting those phone calls, and now hopefully they'll know what to do.
Well, thank you for having me, John, and I hope that this has provided some great information for all of our listeners today.
And I'm going to ask for the website one more time. I want to go on and check it out to learn a little more about this product myself. How do I find it online?
Sklice, SKLICE.com.
I'll check it out there. Thank you so much, Wendy. Have a great day.
John, have a great one.
You too. Again, right there, we've been visiting with Wendy Wright, and she is a nurse practitioner chatting about head lice. And now I got to scratch my head for a while. Thanks for listening. Oh, I'm all itchy. And if you are too, then apparently she did her job. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This is Richard Lustig, the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, to give yourself the best chance of winning, go to RadioLottoPool.com and join today. Again, that website is RadioLottoPool.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The state of Hawaii consists of 8 main islands. I didn't realize there were 8. I thought there were 2.
I thought there were 4.
Well, see, we were both wrong. Oh, there's a map right over here. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Look at that.
Look at that.
This is correct. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Kiwis are the only bird that hunt by smell.
Really?
So kiwi birds hunt by smell.
I didn't know kiwi was a bird. I thought it was just fruit.
Well, it's fruit and it's shoe polish, but I think the shoe polish is made of ground up kiwi birds. I think. It's not. I know it's not. I don't need letters on that. I was just being silly. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The largest antique ever sold was the London Bridge. It sold to, it happened in 1831, and it was transported to Lake Havasu in Arizona in 1968. So they built it in 1831, and then in 1968 they sold it, and it moved to Lake Havasu, Arizona. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The pole used in the game of shuffleboard has a name. What do you think they call it?
I have no idea.
It's not a pole, it's a cue. Yeah,
Oh.
the shuffleboard cue. And now you know, because that has been a fun fact for a Monday.
John and Heidi.
Email marketing is affordable and a proven way to grow your business. If it's done right, you can stay in contact with your customers to let them know when you have new things to offer. You stay in control the whole time, too. You decide when the messages are sent, and you decide what is being said. So you're constantly in control of your business image. You can do this, but don't try it on your own. Team up with one of the biggest names in email marketing, Constant Contact. Sign up for a free trial right now at radiosavings.com. Sign up now at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
There are some people out there who try to tell you no matter what you do, it's bad. And everybody's, you can't eat anything good anywhere and all this stuff is bad. Well, I have a list here for you. America's worst restaurants for kids. But there's some people who get good grades on this report card, too. It's a year-long study of children's meals, and they revealed a vast dietary difference among America's favorite fast food restaurants and sit-down restaurant chains. Authors of a new book called Eat This, Not That for Kids, co-authors David Zinzenko and Matt Goulding, calculated calories and fats and trans fats and sodium and all those different things for children's entrees. They discovered many of America's popular restaurant chains are nutritional nightmares.
Does that surprise you?
No, it's not like you were expecting. You're going out to eat.
You're going out
like,
to
"Oh,
eat.
I'd really
It's
like
not going to be...
order something real healthy."
Right.
Well, and that's great if you can. The results, the restaurant report card they put out holds each food chain accountable, and here are some of the restaurants, and I'll give you what their grades are. Should I start at the top or the bottom? A's or F's?
A's.
Oh, man.
Let's start with the good.
So the best on the list, getting a solid A, is Chick-fil-A. Getting an A-, Subway. A B+, Boston Market. A B, McDonald's. A C+, Domino's. A C, Burger King. A D, Chipotle. And an F, well, I got quite a few. Applebee's, IHOP, Olive Garden, Outback, Red Lobster, and TGI Fridays.
Wow.
So, and I'm sure there are many more on their list if you got the whole list, but these were just a few in each of the categories, and there you have it. So, again, their book, I'm going to scroll up so I can see it. I don't print my stuff anymore, which is cool because I don't waste paper. But the problem is then I have to remember where I found this stuff. Eat This, Not That for Kids. That's the name of the book for those of you who are like, inquiring minds and whatnot. And there's probably a whole lot of people that were not expecting that they were going to go to many of these fast food restaurants and, walk away with like the healthiest of healthy meals.
Right.
So,
but it sounds like a lot of them are doing very well.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A, solid A, Subway, A-, not bad. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you're in business, you need a website. Come on, it's 2016. Do you think this internet thing is not going to catch on? Many business owners that don't have a website think it's just too expensive. Well, now it's not. You can get a website for a few $100s, not thousands of dollars that are charged elsewhere. We can help you set up and design the site and then turn you loose to manage it, or we can help you manage the site for just a tiny bit more. Learn about this special radio offer right now at radiosavings.com. Get an extra $50 off if you sign up this month at radiosavings.com.
I've been to several weddings, and I don't ever remember the whole thing that you see in the movies, because they always have that, if anyone knows of a reason they shouldn't speak now. Have you ever heard him even say that?
I haven't.
I haven't, but apparently that happens, and Marie Salomon was arrested because she couldn't hold her peace. She was arrested at a wedding and charged with breach of peace for allegedly objecting too strenuously to the marriage of the bride and groom. Officers say when the minister asked if anyone had cause as to why the couple shouldn't get married, Salomon screamed and yelled and refused to stop. The minister at the First Baptist Church asked police to remove her from the church so he could continue with the wedding. Salomon was released after posting a $500 bond. Why do they even ask if they're going to marry the people anyway? Anybody have a reason they shouldn't get married? Yeah, I have a reason. Okay, well, we're going to move on now. So what's the point?
Right.
I've been to many weddings. I've seen it in movies, but I have never.
Was this lady like a scorned ex-girlfriend?
Don't know. It doesn't say. You'd think if I typed the story, I'd at least put in there maybe she was the mother of the groom. I have no idea. It doesn't say, but I'd love to know.
Weird.
All right. Coming up, we're going to talk about a cockroach. Ooh, on a lady's tongue. Ooh.
Ew.
And she made a dumber decision. Ooh. It's all on the way. I don't know if I've ever even seen a cockroach like in real life. I've seen them on movies and stuff. Well, you worked at an apartment complex.
And one of my apartments was just.
Oh, I remember you came home and told me about it, and I was like, I think I've seen those, and I was like, oh no, that's a cricket.
Oh.
I'm like, I don't think I have. Well, a woman found a cockroach, and it was on her tongue.
Oh.
So she decided to spray it with bug spray. That was bad news for the cockroach, but it was also bad news for her tongue. An Israeli woman suffered chemical burns after spraying pesticide into her mouth when a flying cockroach landed on her tongue. Spit the thing out, man.
Yeah, just pull it off.
The 20-year-old from Jerusalem burnt her mouth and tongue and vocal cords and lower larynx and needed hospital treatment. She said she hates cockroaches even more than snakes and did not think first before grabbing the pesticide.
Oh, my gosh.
Really? Are you even capable of thinking? Who would spray deadly toxic poison right into your own mouth? That'll show that little cockroach.
I would freak though too, instantly if a bug was on my tongue.
I've had like a mosquito fly into my open mouth, but I would never spray mosquito spray into it.
Okay.
I spit it out.
That's a little different than a cockroach.
I don't know. I'm saying that's as close as I ever want to get. So.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that.
All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We now resume your non-disgusting programming.
John and Heidi.
Whether you're following the election or not, you understand that it impacts you. And this will be a historic election. The mainstream media has their own spin on who's going to win, but PoliticalStorm.com lets you chime in. You can keep yelling at the TV if you want. See how that works out. Or truly voice your opinion and have it heard at PoliticalStorm.com. Be informed from several different sources all in one place. Watch videos, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials to engage your brain. You have a choice, and now you have a voice, too, at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com. When a 6-month-old baby was shot and killed in a gang-related violence incident that happened in a Chicago neighborhood of Woodlawn 3 years ago, Corey Brooks and his New Beginnings Church ministered to the grieving family. Well, in June of this year, believe it or not, another child, this time a toddler, was paralyzed in a similar shooting. That happened on Father's Day. Well, Brooks decided to go further, inviting more than 100 gang members together so he could broker a truce. Pastor Brooks said he emphasized, I'm going to try to say that the right way because I don't want to say what I was saying. He emphasized the pain, there you go, that everybody has experienced as a result of these shootings and the great need for us to have a community where our children are free to go out and play. He says a truce is now in place, and at this point, it is a still very strong truce between, there were all these gangs that were fighting each other and they were shooting at each other in the city, And they were killing innocent people in one case and paralyzed another innocent child in another case. And this guy, again, Corey Brooks and New Beginnings Church, decided that, hey, somebody has to stand up for this. Somebody has to do something. I've got a link to the information if you want to read this whole story, but can you even imagine?
Could you imagine having to live
be
somewhere
terrible.
where you have to worry about that sort
It would
of thing
be so
every
scary.
single day? I mean, you can't even be at your house and feel safe.
And this is so scary because both of these. It's not like they were playing in a war zone. This one was a baby that died 3 years ago, and this other is just a toddler that was playing at their home, got paralyzed on Father's Day. So very, very sad. Like I said, if you'd like to read the whole story, I've got it all at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And we've got some good news on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to sum things up around here with a little bit of good news. Because, there are times we have stories on here that just make you shake your head.
Yes.
You were awfully quiet a bit ago with that gang-related story.
I'm just so fed up.
I
with
know,
all
and
of
there's
it.
so many things we talk about on this program where people do knuckleheaded things, but I always try to make sure we end the program on a positive note with some good news. And a Florida man who survived a double lung transplant is back home after competing in the Transplant Games of America.
Really?
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Didn't know either.
Matt DeFina was born with cystic fibrosis in 1977. Doctors told his parents back then that he would not live to see his 4th birthday. Well, He proved them wrong. He reached his 38th birthday this year, so he's got 34 years on the list of years that he wasn't even supposed to have. But his struggles weren't over. In 2012, DeFina was told that he only had 2 years left to live unless he got a double lung transplant. He received the transplant, and this summer, DeFina took part in the Transplant Games in Cleveland, Ohio. More than 1,500 people participated. After competing in 4 sports, DeFina came home with 7 medals and a whole lot of memories. Just because the doctors say you're done doesn't mean God is done with you, DeFina says. So
That's right.
He says, they told him you're not going to live to be 4. He's 38 now. Well, when he was a couple years ago, 36, they said, you're going to be done pretty soon. Well, he's still around. So this guy's got, I think, the right spirit. And it's really cool that this is going on. You hear all about the Olympics in Rio, but I think it's cool that they've got this Transplant Games in Cleveland going on, too.
Very cool.
I had never heard of it before. So maybe we'll have to do a little better job of promoting that in the future.
There you go.
All right. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. If you'd like to read that story and other fun things, we've got it all at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.